honorable panel before me a minute or two just to formally introduce themselves, tell us what you do currently, and what your experience is in the real estate industry. Let me start with my brother, Alphonse. Go for it.
Okay. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alphonse Nzinge. I am co-founder and managing director of Corey Capital. So Corey Capital is an investment management firm. It was established 10 years ago. So what we do is we provide client-driven investment solutions for institutions and private investors. Our institutional investors are predominantly pension funds and large corporates and charities. So I'll be speaking more from the institutional perspective on the opportunities and what we're seeing in the real estate industry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Victor?
Thank you very much. My name is Victor Senye. I'm with Mesido Investments. We've been in existence for over 10 years now, playing in the property asset management. But before then, I started my career with BDC, then moved on to BFM, and now Mesido, where I think I'm left with a few years because the youngsters I'm working with want me out in less than 2 years, and they want me to be the chairman, so they've made it clear, and I like that because they don't wish me dead.
Thank you very much. Reba Alakani, do you tell us a bit about yourself?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ba Alakani Lumbile. In short, I think most of you know me as BA. It's for the simple reason that quite a number of, I'll say the professionals or Botswanas, they mispronounce my name. So I've gone with BA just to make life easy for everyone else.
BA.
I'm the Chief Property Officer at Letlole La Rona, or LLR. LLR is a variable rate loan stock listed in the Botswana Stock Exchange with an asset base of over 1 billion pula, and a well-diversified portfolio comprising of industrial properties, retail, offices, and residential. Thank you.
Thank you very much, BA. I got it right. I get BA. I don't want to get your surname and names wrong. Oga, do introduce your... do tell us a bit about yourself. I really love the formal way, my brother. Do tell us about yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Uzoma. I'm with RDC. What I do depends on the heart and where at the moment. In a nutshell, I'd say I look after their portfolio here in Botswana. RDC is a listed property company. We invest in lots of different sectors, which we're also trying to energy generation as well. At the moment, owing to the recent acquisitions we've concluded last year, I think I can almost confidently say we are the largest listed property company in Botswana. Now we are sitting at a worth of 5.8 billion. We've grown it from, I think, since 1992 when it was listed to now. It's been a remarkable growth. We are proud to have put Botswana out there on the map, doing what no other company has done by going into South Africa to acquire a listed property company and delist it and bring it back home, which then has given us exposure into various markets like the Malaysian market, South African market, even the Mozambican market. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Re Uzoma, for the introduction. Gentlemen, thank you very much for the introductions. As we start today's panel, I would like to just put up a couple of rules here. At the end of our session, I will allow for questions and answers to the panel. Do feel free to note the questions because they're going to be giving us quite good numbers and forecast and trends. So I trust that I've got future investors in this room who have questions for the panel up here. So do note your questions, and I'll make an allowance for questions later on. As we warm up, let me just also take this time to give another shout out to the young people in this hall today who gathered those pulas to make it possible to be here today. I know how it's tough to organize such amounts. So to the young ones out there, for me it's kudos and welcome to real estate. I get Ralebo. We're going to start the topic of the day, and maybe just let me throw it to Ray Alphonse in saying, one thing we know in this world, regardless of where you are, who you are, is that we all wish to invest in property. That is an endeavor that we've been listening to the whole day and talking about. But the question is, what are the current investment trends agreeable? Is it agreeable, and if not, why is it not agreeable? Ray Alphonse.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Just to answer directly, just starting off where we currently are, I mean, our position is we're in a very strong and stable position. Again, the perspective we come from is institutional assets. So we're taking, for instance, pension fund assets and investing in opportunities. So we do it both with listed companies and unlisted companies. So whether it's debt or equity on the listed side, on the unlisted side, it's just debt. So there was obviously the challenges most recently with COVID. From our position and what we see in the companies that we do invest in, they've definitely returned to pre-COVID levels. So in terms of balance sheets, there was a lot of challenges around covenants and raising capital. And right before that period of COVID, there was a very aggressive drive for a lot of the property companies looking into the region. I think you spoke to your acquisition in South Africa. There's been others in East Africa. So we're seeing that trend returning to the market. So the market is, and it's a very deep market for property, and I think the opportunity is also helped by the fact that there's a lot of assets that are coming back home. There's been significant changes in retirement reform in this country that I'm sure you're aware of, where currently only 30% of retirement assets have to be invested in Botswana. That's increasing to 50. So a significant amount, billions, are going to be coming home looking for a place to invest. So that's another big driver going forward. It's also been regionalization, and the other thing is around ESG, which I think has been spoken to at length today. So the focus is really been on the G component. I think the E and the S will come a bit later. So there has been I think there's a lot more emphasis on investment opportunities looking at governance. I think we've had a few hiccups recently, mostly related to related party transactions that have affected some investment opportunities. But overall, we think the sector is in a very strong place, and we're deeply excited to look for bankable projects to fund and support in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I believe that is well covered. I want to pick a bit of your brain, Victor. I believe we're going to continue delving more into this. Just briefly, Victor, touch on real estate investment cultures and attitudes. I mean, we are seeing a lot of trends in terms of real estate behavior and attitude for over investors in Botswana. Just touch a bit on that and tell us what, and include the niche markets that we can see in the current real estate trends in Botswana.
Thank you for the question. I think from the perspective of Mesido Investments, we definitely deal with institutional investors, predominantly the Botswana Public Officers Pension Fund. And in looking for opportunities for them, we find that there are quite a number of opportunities that are there in the market. The fundamental issue is whether those are bankable. We get a lot of transactions coming through our door, and I think we've got to sift through a lot of those issues. And where we sometimes find it's a bit frustrating is that we have a different perspective of value from those that are putting their stock to the buyers relative to those of us that are looking to buy. So what ends up happening is that sometimes we end up in a situation where we have to originate the assets out of necessity. And that's what we've been looking at. In terms of niche opportunities, yes, they are there, but they are there because we're trying to seek diversification from the traditional asset classes of offices, retail, industrial. But I don't think those assets will get out of fashion. You know, there's always talk of look into the fancy areas, look into the niche markets, but you've got to navigate that thing quite carefully. For example, we had this morning, there's been talk about student accommodation and all that. University of Botswana has flighted tenders in the past and got surprised why funders haven't taken that opportunity. But it's because the fundamentals of it are not working. If you pay students 1,600 pula as an off-campus allowance, and you expect them to pay for accommodation, transport, and meals, how much can they really allocate that amount to property against the backdrop where the cost of delivery of student housing continues to go up and up, as we've seen with recent increases in steel prices, aluminum, and cement. So at the end of the day, you've got to look at the dynamics of it. We've talked this morning about data centers. These are opportunities that are there in the market, but at the end of the day, you've got to see where we are relative to things that are needed for a successful data center. And power supply is one of the key issues. I'm glad at this point in time, our Murupule A and B is doing well. We've pretty much reduced our import of electricity, and I think we dropped it by another 65% or so. So as we move that path, we're going to find that there is a conducive environment to start getting into data centers and stuff like that. So I think opportunities are there, even for the individual investor. I think if you look at the plethora of investable universe, you will find that there are listed property funds like the gentleman on my left are representing, but you also have unit trusts that a number of asset managers are running, which gives opportunity to an individual retail investor to get access to a wide range of properties without necessarily having to